disrupting their command and control and supply lines, making it harder for them to move. We're destroying their fighting positions, their tanks, their vehicles, their barracks, their training camps, and the oil and gas facilities and infrastructure that fund their operations.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the president just moments ago, as you saw live here on Newsmax television. Joining us now is Major General Vallely, retired Major General in the U.S. Army and founder of Stand Up America. General, your take on the president's request to Congress for authorization to fight ISIS for the next 3 years?
Well, I think, first of all, you know it's a draft resolution. Number two, you never put a time limit when you're at war. So when you announce you're at war against an enemy, then you have to have the strategy, and you never announce your strategy of current and future operations. So a lot of words again, but we'll talk a little bit, if you want to, Steve, about this boots on the ground wordage that's being used. It's not well understood.
Because he went out of his way to say, basically, I'm not George Bush. This isn't another ground war. It's not Afghanistan. It's not Iraq. But then he talked about, you know, he wouldn't rule out the use of ground forces in some instances. And then he, like you say, you don't telegraph your punches. He actually gave a scenario. Let's say there's a bunch of ISIS leaders and we know where they are. I mean, you know, but what about that aspect of it?
Well, first of all, boots on the ground. Let's get rid of that terminology. It doesn't reflect what's necessary for victory. So, number one, if you're at war, you have to have a strategy for victory. You have to have ground troops, which means you have to have air-ground operations. You've got to have eyes on the ground, fixing the enemy, finding out where they are, and then you target them, and then you bring the air power in. And so you don't need a lot of what we call conventional forces, armored brigades, infantry brigades. Use your special ops forces, just like we did early on in Afghanistan. So that's what boots on the ground are. They're eyes and ears to bring in the air that takes out specific targets, command and control center, logistical bases, individuals. So like I said on a show last week, I'd bring the B-52s in just like we did in Afghanistan early on. And I'll tell you what, that'll put the fear of Allah in them.
You know what gets me, though, is that same language from the Iraqi parliament electing a representative government. For how many months, maybe a year or more, we've been hearing that line. And again, the same line, even though he said ISIS will lose, he said again that we have to degrade and destroy. And he bragged about 2,000 airstrikes. 2,000 airstrikes. We used to do that in a day in Iraq.
Well, again, if you don't have those special ops guys on the ground lasing in the targets, then how effective is it going to be? You know, they're running convoys up to Turkey, 12 to 10 vehicles a day. They've been taken out. Yeah, he says we limit this, we limit that, all generalities. And then, Steve, the myth of the coalition of 60-some countries, that is a myth. Yeah. There's no coalition over there other than King Abdullah right now, with limited support by flying 7 to 10 sorties a day by the Americans. What are the Iraqis doing? We know the Iranians are inside Iraq right now. They've had 2 of their generals killed. I mean, it's a mishmash. I mean, let's get serious. We're at war. Let's have a strategy. Let's have victory.
Well, General, he talked about the losses that ISIS has suffered. Leadership, infrastructure, communications, etc. Do you believe that they're that degraded, if you will, at this point?
Well, again, I would like to see some evidence of it. Where's the evidence? We have these shots taken from the air that shows the explosions, but what happened after the explosions? Where are the post-damage assessments at? What's going on? What was destroyed? I mean, it's all such garbage, in my opinion, from a intelligence standpoint. Now, the Pentagon needs to get on board here, and again, we're not going to telegraph what we're doing today and tomorrow, but we certainly can tell the American people what has been done with specifics, not generalities.
Right. All right. Always appreciate it, General. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Bye-bye.
All right, General Vallely, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. And at the bottom of this hour, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to you. taking a few phone calls at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's at the bottom of the hour, about 22 or 21 minutes away. And we're going to open up the lines to our viewers to discuss President Obama's request to Congress today to ask for authorization for military force to degrade and ultimately defeat ISIS in the Middle East. So here's what you do if you want to get in on this. Look at that taxi. You know I have my own taxi. That's in Manhattan, but that's a Florida taxi. That's right. It's 561-369-0081. Again, 561-369-0081. That's the number you call. And the grand prize winner will get a ride in the taxi. Only kidding. We're coming back with more on the Steve Malzberg Show.